Hi, this is Joe from Two Blokes from Blighty, and before we get into the episode, we're going to hear from our good pal. He's going to make you forget about it, though. It's Josh, and Talking Smack.
Forget about it.
Take it away, Josh.
Alex, what would you say if I told you there's a nerd podcast out there that talks blockbuster movies, superhero comics, TV shows, anime, and so much more?
Josh, I would say that is literally every nerd podcast out there.
Alex, that's our podcast, Talking Smack, every Wednesday. We're supposed to be promoting it right now.
Yes, and we promote that with our amazing upper Midwest Wisconsin accents.
Oh yeah, check out Talking Smack every Wednesday on your favorite podcatcher, don't you know?
Exactly. Crap, that was really good.
I love them both.
Such a good advert.
Yeah.
Anyway, into the episode.
Into the episode. When all you've got to keep is strong, move along, like I know you do. And even when your hope is gone, move along, just to make it through. This is Tim from Two Blokes from Blighty. I'm joined by my brother, Joey Fitz.
Hello, Tim. I know that song. It sounds like All American Rejects.
It is All American Rejects. It's Move Along.
See what happens when you do a song I know?
Yeah,
I
know it.
There you go. Sorry, I should introduce myself. I am Joey Fitz. I am joined by the tangy Tim.
Tangy?
How are you feeling, Tim?
Exotic.
Ooh.
Oh, you lucky
How are you
audience.
actually doing?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I've spent most of my day building a PC that I've been trying to troubleshoot.
How exciting. I imagine that's on our running order.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool. Tim, we always start these episodes in exactly the same way, so let's do this. Keep
Pub quiz question of the week. Not a jingle. That's a sound effect at best.
What we have there is a fucking jingle, Tim. What we have there is a jingle.
Pub quiz question of the week. Joey, name all 12 star signs.
Oh, I don't want to.
Well, that's your question.
Virgo 12 times.
It's not Virgo 12 times. That's one of them.
Aries.
Yep.
Cancer.
Yep.
Capricorn?
Yep.
I was going to say Capri Sun then, but that's not one.
That's a big sip.
It's a big sip. Leo.
Yep.
Pisces.
Yep, that's another one.
Virgo.
Yep, that's 6. You're halfway there.
This is going to be really painful. I don't really care about star signs, so I'm going to stop at 6 and call it a victory.
All right, great. Well, do you want to move on to the second quiz question then, as you're
Yeah,
playing
let's do the
victory on this
second
one? All right, great. What's the
As a
collective
victorious man.
What's the collective noun for a group of giraffes?
Ooh, is it a pride?
It's not a pride of giraffes.
A big old long neck of giraffes. A neck of giraffes.
It's not a neck, although that would be great, but we'll come back to that at the end of the episode.
I really like collective nouns. I think they're really funny.
We've talked about them last season, I think.
I like a bloat of hippos.
Yep. Big fan of that.
Zebras is good. I won't look because I'll find the giraffes and I don't want to do that.
What's zebras?
Zebras is a dazzle of zebras.
A dazzle?
A razzle-dazzle of zebras.
Fabulous.
Fabulous zebras. Tim, we got a couple of things on the running order this week, but we before we get into that, this episode goes out. We're recording it on Wednesday, the 11th.
Yeah.
The next episode goes out on the 18th, which is 7 days away. Am I right in thinking that makes this episode our Wednesday?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me look at my calendar. Okay. So we got tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Tim, I said we have stuff on
Monday.
the running order. We don't need to pad this as much as we normally do.
Monday, Tuesday, And my calendar actually cuts off at that point. So let's go with Wednesday.
Okay, well, let's assume it's Wednesday, and we'll
Sure.
go with it.
Tim and Joey talking loud. Holidays that make them proud. Calendar check every week. Which day holds the peak? Valentine's is on a pivot. Christmas Eve sometimes hits it. New Year's Eve can be found smiling on a Wednesday round. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Time to shake the mood. Celebrate whatever's there. Make the middle week a fair.
It's
That
Wednesday,
was
my
fucking
dudes.
amazing. Why haven't we done that before?
Did you love it?
That was brilliant.
Was it better than any stupid songs with a stupid frog?
Yes, it was. And it was to the point. It kept the theme. I'm a big fan of that one.
It was a good length. Maybe we'll keep that one for a while. Or maybe
Yeah.
we'll change it for next season. Tim, how many episodes are left in this season?
Oh, like 2, including this one.
And the reason that came about, Alex sent me a pop punk version of Wednesday, My Dude. And I thought, I'm just going to use that because the last one was 2 minutes long. Today, I received 4 bits of feedback on Two Blokes from Blighty, and 4 of them, all 4 were about the jingle.
Was it a bit long?
One person said they really liked it. One person said, I'm not sure on the Wednesday jingle. And the other 2 were kind of on the fence, but I think they were probably being kind.
Fair enough. All right, let's call it a 75 negative rating on the old one.
It's like being Arrowhead Studios at the moment. Tim,
Woof.
there's 3 national days for you. For anyone who didn't get it, that was a Helldivers joke.
Yes, it was.
There's 3 national days for you. 2 of them quite fun. 1 of them not so much. Maybe not as not fun as last week's.
Okay.
We have. Do you want me to start with the not so fun one, and then we'll move on to the fun ones?
Let's get that one out of the way.
National HIV and AIDS and Aging Awareness Day.
It feels like that last one was just kind of tacked on the end.
I think it's about living with HIV or AIDS rather than HIV and AIDS and aging.
And we've covered this demographic now.
I'd better do the aging as well.
Yeah.
Gotta hit as
Get
many
the
bases
old
as
people on side.
And then there's National Cheeseburger Day.
Big fan.
And then this is one that we never normally have. It's normally National Something Day or International Something Day. It's Air Force One's birthday.
What was in the plane?
The plane.
No, fuck that. We're going to go with
given
Cheeseburger
what-
Day.
Fitting given today.
Oh, no. Recording day.
Given recording day. Anyway, so we'll go Cheeseburger Day.
Cheeseburger Day.
And how would you like people to celebrate?
I want everyone on the Discord to collaborate and build a burger. Now, the first person needs to comment like what type of bun the bottom bun is going to be. The next person is going to comment what the next layer of food is, and so on and so forth until we have this massive burger.
Tim, no one does the things that we tell them to do.
They
on
might do
National
this
Day.
one. They're already in the Discord.
It takes a bit more coordination than you would be thinking it would. So let's lower those requirements a little bit and just say enjoy a cheeseburger.
Fine, yeah, enjoy a cheeseburger, but maybe also do that.
Yeah, base bitches.
Yeah.
So Tim, you just said it in the intro. You've spent all day building a PC.
Yeah, so we finally got the stuff together for Payne's PC, getting an upgrade from the laptop, which is nice. The thing that has had me stumped for the last, I would say, couple of hours is the cooler. Now, I'm waiting on a response on the PC Builder Help subreddit. But the long and short of it is, whenever I turn on the cooler, it's a closed-loop cooling system, the pump seems to be making sort of like a chattering sound.
I can tell you how to fix that.
That's probably air bubbles trapped in the system, right?
It is air bubbles. However, it's not a problem.
So I understand that you're supposed to leave it for like 15, 20 minutes to let it kind of work it out and hold the thing up. The pipes are straight and the air bubbles can release. I must have had that thing up for about 20 minutes while running and it's not done it.
When you are fitting, sorry, this probably isn't the best use of the podcast as a troubleshooting forum for Tim. When you're fitting the radiator cooler, what you want to do in that instance is make sure that the pipes are going from the bottom of the cooler because what you want to do is trap the air, any air in there. So every cooling loop's going to have some air in. You want to trap the air at the very top of the radiator.
Mhm.
So make sure when you put it in that you start with the radiator above, put it into place, and never put the pipes anywhere near above it. Always have them south of the cooling
Yeah, so it
unit.
drops down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Air lighter than water.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that should stop the chattering.
But it hasn't, unfortunately, over the last couple of hours of troubleshooting. The person that I bought it off was like, yeah, I bought that cooler about 3 or 4 years ago. To be honest, I was going to throw it away because I'm pretty sure it was on the way out. So, yeah. So I've just bought a new one. It's arriving tomorrow.
Okay. I think you should try thermal paste first.
Oh, I've reapplied the thermal paste.
Just dip it in thermal paste.
Just dunk the whole thing. I'm going to need more than a syringe.
Depends how big the syringe is.
If it's like a cartoon one.
It's a really fucking big syringe.
Yeah. But it's not
so
thermal
no, you're
compound on my finger. I do a bit.
not going to do that?
No, I'm not going to dunk it sauce style.
Oh.
No.
What's even the point of the podcast? If you're not going to do that for content, Tim.
Maybe if audience, if you want to get a vat of thermal paste, I will
Send
throw
it to
the
Tim
cooler
and he will dip his whole PC in it.
Well, no, hang on, the cooler.
No, the PC. Do you remember? Have you ever seen that review on Amazon for the barrel of lube?
I know you can buy a barrel of lube. I haven't seen the review.
I'll edit this out.
I've seen the one where the guy put Nair hair removal cream on his ass crack to surprise his wife, and he ended up like burning his asshole, and it was like sat there with a bag of peas on his ass, and his wife came in the kitchen to him like in the fetal position with like peas on his ass.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Oh, Tim, did you hear about that? The review on the barrel of lube that's on Amazon?
I did not. Tell me all about it.
I definitely didn't spend 5 minutes that I've cut out the episode searching for this, where we have awkward conversation. So this 55-gallon barrel of water-based lubricant called Passion on Amazon. And on 27th of February 2014, famously the last but one day in February, and it got a 5-star review. And the review is called Backyard Carnival of Death.
Interesting.
So I'm going to read this out for you. It's quite long, but it is worth it.
All right, I'm listening.
I'm a risk analyst for a major insurance firm. So when my wife and I were planning a birthday party for our 7-year-old, Crispin, didn't need to add the name, my mind naturally turned to liabilities. We'd settled on the theme of Backyard Carnival, complete with a swing set, a trampoline, a merry-go-round, and a giant slip and slide. So I carefully inspected the equipment for safety. It seemed sound.
Okay.
We have a home on a bluff overlooking the ocean. As it happened, on the day of the party, our neighbours were trimming their trees. We heard the sound of their wood chipper buzzing occasionally from the other side of the tall hedge. It was a little irritating, but not disruptive. The party started off wonderfully. A clown we'd hired made balloon animals. Crispin eagerly opened his presents. All of the children enjoyed cake and fruit punch. The weather was mild. Skies clear. It seemed like a perfect day.
That's ideal.
And then we brought out the slip and slide. The problem with water slides is what we call in the trade, what we in the trade call, quote marks, distributed water deficiency zones, or in layman's terms, dry spots. If a child hits one of these, it can put the brakes on the fun and send them sliding down a path of medical claims, concussions, lacerations, abrasions, whiplash, back rash, and disc impaction. And that's just for starters. From there, it's a slippery slope down towards major litigation. To avoid even the remote possibility of such injuries, I invested in this 55-gallon drum of water-soluble personal lubricant. The idea being that the children could enjoy the slide for their safety. and then wash off with the hose before their parents came to retrieve them. With that in mind, I dipped each child into the vat before allowing them to queue for the slides. We're about halfway through, Tim.
Mhm.
The slip and slide itself performed admirably, as did the lubricant. That, in fact, was the problem. Due to the slight downhill gradient of our yard, the children built up so much speed that they skidded across the lawn and into a retaining wall on the other end of our property. With sufficient force, I had to put an end to the activity. I endeavoured to roll up the mat. No easy task, as the lawn surrounding the slide itself was now lubricated. When I struggled to maintain my footing, when I looked up from my labour, I grasped, for the first time, the scope of the liabilities I had unleashed. A horde of extremely well-lubricated 7-year-olds, hyped up on sugar and desperate for fun. I saw there's some names in here that I don't know if I want to include because they're 7 years old.
Yes,
I saw a young girl climb onto the trampoline. She began jumping, but the pad became so slick that she lost control. Her wild flailing, unfortunately, fell into harmonic synchronization with the motion of the springs, propelling her very high until she soared above the trampoline safety enclosure, over the hedge, and into the neighbour's yard. There came a ghastly grinding sound. I could tell from the crimson plume that followed it would be a total loss. Twins, Name and Name, were on the swing set, having attained the swing's full range of motion. They were apparently having difficulty holding on. At that point, the swings became human catapults. Name separated on the backswing, arcing over the roof of our home and towards the street beyond. I summarised from the screeching tyres, car horns, and screams of horror that he was also unrecoverable. A terrified Name soon lost their grip as well, sailing forward over the bluff, plummeting down 300 feet into the ice-cold, shark-infested waters of the San Francisco Bay. An open claim, but not promising. The rest of the children were clinging onto the merry-go-round, having witnessed the violent deaths of at least 2 of their playmates. They were no longer in the mood for fun. However, the lubricant had dripped from their glistening bodies into the central cog, allowing it to spin far faster than it was designed to. And this, likely combined with other factors, their relative weight distribution, the slight incline on the ground, caused their motion to become self-sustaining, and the centrifugal force built upon itself until they became a blurry, screaming disc of human suffering. Then they began to fly off like cannonballs.
That's amazing.
Name. It's not over yet. Name was the first to go, causing significant structural damage to our greenhouse. Another Name shattered through the ceramic garden gnomes, and then another Name slammed into our Audi Q7 so hard that it had been written off, as tragically, so was he. Several other children left what looked like gingerbread man indentations in the siding of our home. It was terrifying. We are nearly finished now. When the wheel finally came to a stop, there was only one child aboard. As luck would have it, it was our own Crispin. Huddled in the centre of the merry-go-round, weeping, my wife ran to him and hugged him with all the might of a relieved, traumatised parent. A little too hard, as it turned out. Lubricated as he was, he shot out from her arms like a wet bar of soap, up 15 feet into the air, landed on the trampoline, and then soared into the half-grainer over the hedge into the wood chipper. Since then, I've asked myself 1,000 times, is there anything I could do differently? In the end, no one could have predicted this bloodbath. I only conclude that it was an act of God. That, to me, is the truly terrifying part, because we're not covered for that. 5 stars.
Just on the topic of the centrifugal merry-go-round, have you ever seen this patent I'm sending you now?
I don't spend a lot of time looking at patents, no.
Just do me a favor, read what the patent's for.
Oh my god. Apparatus facilitating the birth of a child by centrifugal force.
It's a machine that spins women in labour around to try and get the baby out.
Is it a serious thing?
I mean, it was a patent in 1963.
And it was granted?
Yes.
Wow.
To be exact, it was
in
originally
1963, so it was even before the memes.
Yeah. So this is an honest to gosh idea.
Tim, can you post this in the Discord so people can see?
Yeah. Do you want me to do it now so there's no context?
No, I don't. Right, Tim.
Yeah.
So you're replacing the caller, and you think all gravy, all good to go.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, we should be good to go.
Nice,
Yeah, easy peasy.
very nice. Tim,
Hello.
that leads us quite nicely on to something that hasn't been put on the Discord. So this PC that you're building is for Pain.
Yeah.
You have a gaming PC.
Yep.
I have one.
Yep.
Alex has one.
Yep.
This episode goes out on the 18th of September.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do regularly starting from tomorrow, the 19th of September?
Streaming Baldur's Gate, baby.
Are we going to do a full playthrough, do you think?
Full playthrough. We're like announcing this very ahead of time. We're planning on doing this for the podcast. I've never beaten a run. Joey's never beaten a run. Payne's never beaten a run. And I don't think Alex has beaten a run.
No, he hasn't.
So we want to do it for the pod. So twitch.tv/Slade Plays Games for
So Slade doesn't want to play it. So twitch.tv/Game Club Pod.
Yep.
All one word. Thursday evenings, UK time. Don't know, maybe between 8 and 8:30. We'll start.
Yeah, something like that.
But we'll put a tweet out. You should join us. It'd be really fun.
It'll be fun. I like Alex and Payne and I have all played D&D like quite a lot before. Joey, you've dabbled.
I have been there while you played.
Yeah.
Tim, what happened the last time we played Baldur's Gate?
I mean, the last time I made Dominic Littlewood the dwarf mage.
Yeah. And the time before that, I made Howard the Halifax man and just spent the whole time throwing you downstairs and off hills.
And up cliffs. And to the point I found an area I'd never seen before.
Ooh, so yeah, well done me.
Thanks, Howard.
But yeah, so join us, it'll be fun. And we'd love to see as many of you there as possible.
It'll be exciting. Maybe you can weigh in on some of the decision making.
Yeah. Actually, that'd be really good if listeners could do that. That'd be really fun.
That'd be fun.
Okay, Tim, what do you want to talk about next?
I mean, history's fairly long this week if you want to make a start on that.
Ooh, yes, let's do some history bobs. Have you noticed how I'm stalling because I've accidentally put the soundboard away? History bobs.
Oh, history. Joey, what do you think of the dentist?
I really hate the dentist.
I hate the dentist too.
I hate the whizzy drill.
So I just hate the idea of someone being paid to fuck around with my mouth. Fuck around, I know, is a very sweeping term. I know they're doing a very respected practice, but I hate it.
Have you ever had the drill on your teeth? And they do it and they shoot water and it goes and it like Jenny said to me the other day, where every time you brush your teeth you're literally brushing bones, and it made me so now just imagine someone while you're awake and under no anesthetic a lot of the time drilling into your bones, and it makes me want to gag.
Well, this story for this week, I've called it Presidential Dentist. I'm realizing I should have called it Presidentistry. Would have been a better name. Have you ever seen a picture?
You could just go with President.
Presidentist.
Presidentist.
There you go.
There it is.
Have you ever seen George Washington's teeth?
Didn't he famously have wooden teeth?
That is an urban myth. That will.
Is it an urban myth because his teeth were knackered?
Yes.
Cool.
So
are they knackered because he was part British?
No. Interestingly, around this time, it was recorded that the British had the American had the American. The British had the better quality oral hygiene. How the tables have turned. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teeth on the top.
Mm-hmm.
8 on the bottom, but missing at least 2.
And also the ones at the front and bottom are very thin. So, the story's going to kind of be jumping around between the 18th and 19th century, where hygiene was generally quite poor. It was quite commonplace for people to bathe clothed, for example, because they thought it would cause germs to be naked in the water.
That's like Tobias Funke in Arrested Development being an
Oh
Evan
yeah. So
he used to shower in jean shorts.
So medicinal practices in 1600 Europe were often quite crude and based in superstition. So, for example, it was a really commonly held belief all the way back from Sumerian times. Which, do you know when Sumerian times are?
Yeah, between some and area.
Well done. It's the earliest known civilization.
Cool.
But it was their belief, and this held all the way until like the mid 18th century, that toothaches were caused by worms getting in your teeth from the food you eat.
That is true, though.
I mean, there's a lot of drawings of it, so it must be true.
Yeah.
It was also common for US settlers to lose all their teeth by their 20s and 30s. It was also it was also a luxury to have a toothbrush, so not everyone had these. Although people had tooth powder, and I want you to keep tooth powder in mind. We're going to come back to that. But what they used to do was they used to put it on a rag and rub it. But because this was also kind of considered a luxury, it was really common apparently for people to refer to people who did this as queer.
Oh, history.
Yep.
Couldn't let you get past the fact you said put it on a rag and rub it without saying I still do that.
Brilliant. Great work. So a lot of dentists were, and I'm going to use the word
Queer.
dentist. They weren't queer. Well, we don't know. But I'm going to use this in big inverted commas. Were again often based in superstition, because based on the knowledge they had, and often just deemed it easier to remove the tooth in question. Now, if you were a settler in 1800s America, in 18th century America rather, who would you go to for dental work? Imagine you're a settler.
None of these people, I'm guessing. Someone, the man who sold suspiciously bushy food, by the sounds of it.
So some of the more common people you go to are your barber, would do dentist work. Blacksmiths were the most common.
I kind of get that.
Apothecaries, and anyone who worked with metal.
Anyone at all.
Anyone who worked with metal. They just had access to the prongs and the tools and the hammers and the knives, and that would be it. That'd be your dentist work.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, in 1735, a guy called James Mills ran an ad in the New York Weekly Journal, noting that he would draw teeth and old stumps safely. Old stumps is a gross way of putting it, but the practice involved, because this was pre-anesthetic and patients would move around a lot, he would have them sitting or laying on the ground or have his head between their knees and would just yank the tooth.
It's not that different to how it's done now, though.
No, now we just have a chair.
Well, you know that I've had a tooth removed down here.
Yeah, I've had two up in the top.
Well, but removed. I have one missing. You can see.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it's because during COVID I cracked it, and the dentist told me it was non-emergency, and it got so bad that it just completely fell apart because of the crack. So I've had one removed sort of in the last 18 months.
Just a yank,
and yeah, they get. But sorry for anyone who's a bit squeamish. They give you a local anaesthetic, get pliers, push it up, and just yank it out and pull it down.
Oof. That's brutal. Obviously, this is all pre-anesthetic, but that doesn't stop that from being any less bad. Now, a tool that was often used at the time was a thing called a dental key, also known as an English key. It was basically a key-shaped object with a claw on the end of it, and they would put it over the patient's tooth, tighten it with the key part, and then just yank. I'm guessing the claw was to kind of get under like the body of the tooth, if you like.
Yeah. I would imagine so.
Now, because of how separated the colonies were, a lot of dentistry was just kind of done as like a town-to-town thing. Like people wouldn't set up shops. They would just travel around being like, the dentist is in town, trying out different dental practices to effectively get ahead of the game or whatever. The most famous one being that sometimes if people had cracked or impacted teeth, the dentist would just put a leech on it to try and suck the tooth out, which is smart and ecological, keeping the leech in employment. Now, in 1700s England, a guy called John Hunter developed the idea of transplanting human teeth from one mouth to another. Joey's giving a look of grimace there, which, that's vile. So he would pay people to come in and donate their teeth, which is an interesting idea. But then he developed this into the idea of a thing called the tooth tie, which is essentially he would have a bunch of teeth tied together in a row and would just try and slot it into people's jaws and then tie that to the teeth that are still in the mouth.
That sounds really sanitary.
It sounds
John
really,
Hunter
really
is a fucking lunatic.
He's mental. Now, of course, this idea caught on in America. Of course it did.
Of course it did.
Dentists were known for luring children in to have their teeth removed for shillings and to give those teeth to the wealthy.
They'll grow back.
Sure, they get a second go, I suppose.
Exactly.
Now, there was an ad.
I don't imagine all of these wealthy people with tiny milk teeth looked great, though.
Now, there was an ad in this is the easiest newspaper to say in the world, New York City's Riverton Gazette, that offered 4 guineas in exchange for each sound front tooth.
Right, okay.
So,
you don't want to give them up, though, because they're the ones that you show off.
Yeah, especially at Christmas.
No, that's when you request them.
Yep, sorry, my bad. Now, 1790, guy called John Flagg, another John, was the first native-born American dentist, and who exclusively trained in the profession. That's the word.
I like how you questioned the correct word.
I did.
Profession.
He also made the first chair for dental patients, and then some 25 years later, the Battle of Waterloo happened in the Netherlands. So people swarmed over the dead and yanked out the teeth and sold them to dentists, and they turned them into dentures that they called Waterloo teeth. So you could buy the the veneers, if you like, of dead soldiers and wear them.
That sounds really respectful to their legacy.
Doesn't it just? Now, there's another John entering the story here.
These Johns are mental.
There's so many Johns. Now, John Greenwood was George Washington's dentist, and he invented the first dental foot engine. So the dental foot engine was a pedal from his mother's treadle, like a sewing machine, and he just hooked it up to a drill.
No.
Procedures still took hours to do.
No.
Now, when you think of George Washington, Joey, what do you think of? What comes to mind?
Can I tell you that I don't think of George Washington ever?
Okay, well, I've said George Washington to you. What are you picturing?
George Washington, a president with hair.
Sure. Okay, let's go with hair. So, if he were alive today, he would be worth $525 million, and his salary was 2% of the US budget, which is quite a lot.
It is a lot.
He got a great contract. As I said earlier, the wooden teeth thing, not real.
Mm-hmm.
But he also had a long history of illness. So in 1755, he suffered from, quote, pain in the head. And
I get that quite a lot at work lately.
Also dysentery. Do you get that at work, or?
I get that anyway.
Oh, okay.
I have a terrible diet.
In 1761, he got bone break fever, also known as dengue fever. Now, I'd never heard of this, so I had to look it up. It's a fever that makes it feel like your bones are breaking.
Bone break fever sounds like something in the 80s. It sounds like a dance craze.
Yeah, or like something you hear on like a 50s advert. He's got bone break fever.
Makes it sound really funky.
He also got attacks of malaria, flu, rheumatism, and just a whole bunch of other shit more.
Thank God he was well remunerated, because it just sounds like an awful existence.
So this is the thing, that whenever you see time travel movies that go back in time, there's two things that people never comment on, which is the smell. It would smell awful in the past because people bathed with their clothes on and didn't brush their teeth. So if you
Shat in the street. Yeah.
and threw their buckets of shit and piss into the alleyways out front.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, there's diseases everywhere. No one has
but
any sort of developed immune system.
You're taking your lovely immune body back in the past.
You're going to get fucked up.
No, you'll be fine.
You reckon?
No, but for the sake of this fun-loving pod, let's say they'll be fine.
Sure.
I
Now-
mean, there's other things that people don't talk about that are probably slightly more uncomfortable, but let's move on.
Let's move swiftly on. So George Washington, at the time, because of all his diseases, was receiving essentially a pretty standard array of medical treatments, but the most prevalent one was a thing called calomel. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
It's mercury chloride. So he was just drinking mercury the whole time. Now, shockingly, I don't know if you know this, mercury is not great for your teeth.
Or your body, or your brain, or anything else. Unless you are a thermometer.
But he was being given to patients in such large doses that their hair and teeth would fall out, right?
So my assumption of George Washington with hair,
Out the
silly
window.
boy. What a silly boy I am.
So George Washington started taking calomel at 22. It led to immediate dental problems because he was drinking mercury. And over the next 35 years, he ended up losing all of his teeth.
Oh, that's sad.
I mean, he still had his teeth for a very, very long time for someone of the era.
For someone who was drinking mercury, yeah.
Now, do you remember we talked about tooth powder about 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Tooth powder back then was made of the following things:
God.
roots, herbs, burnt bread, tobacco, and pumice.
This sounds like someone's gone, I need some money, what's in my bin?
That's where the apothecary people came in.
Yeah.
They just cobbled a bunch of shit together. But on top of that, mouthwash wasn't exactly a thing. So it was made up a combination of water, salt, wine, and vinegar. So people were rubbing their teeth with roots, herbs, burnt bread, tobacco, and volcanic rocks, and then washing out with wine and vinegar and salt. Now, Washington was doing all this. He was keeping up with what was thought to be the standard of hygiene back then. It wasn't working because he was presumably drinking a lot of mercury.
Yeah, well, is this just what he thought was the standard of hygiene, but he was just constantly on a trip?
What happened though was he was prone to a lot of frequent episodes of abscesses and flame gums due to a combination of drinking mercury, having yearly extractions for his teeth, and ill-fitting dentures, basically from about the age of 25.
I don't like it.
Now, Washington would frequently write to dentists asking for a file to repair dentures, a scalper to clean his teeth, or pincers to fashion wires to his teeth. And he would ask for the best trained dentist to look at a model of his teeth to make some dentures for him. And across a bunch of US archives, there are boxes and boxes of George Washington's letters, just basically him going, fix my fucking mouth, please.
I'm not surprised.
No, it's brutal.
Well, that
Now,
picture you sent me is bad.
That's dentures.
I don't like it.
This is all before he was president, mind you, right?
Okay.
By the time he became president,
Yeah.
and he was inaugurated and sworn into office in 1789, he had one tooth left, and so he had a full set of dentures made by John Greenwood, our friend, the third John of the story. Greenwood's dentures were made up of a base of hippo ivory, carved to fit gums.
Okay.
The upper denture was made up of, where are we? Ivory. And the lower teeth were made up of 8 human teeth and gold pivots. And it was all screwed into the base and all fitted into George Washington's mouth by a series of spiral springs.
Wow.
So he's got a really fucky robot mouth. Like, you've probably never done this. If you ever throw a watch on the floor, that was his mouth.
No, I've never thrown a watch on the floor.
Interestingly, though, if you look at portraits of Washington,
Mm.
his younger portraits show a scar on his left cheek, where dentists had to go through his cheek to get an impacted tooth out and removed. They couldn't go in this way; it had to go through his cheek. And later portraits show his jaw and mouth to be like really puffy, presumably due to infections.
But
and
all
his
of
mouth
them show his mouth closed.
Well, it's funny you mention that. His mouth was in so much pain that he couldn't talk during his second inaugural address. He couldn't speak because it just hurt to talk. And the last thing I've got here, and I couldn't really work out a way to fit this into the story, is the types of animals that they used to make dentures at the time. So,
Okay.
what are your immediate thoughts when I think animals? When we say animals and dentures,
Hippos.
so hippos is on the list.
Rats. Tiny
Not
little
rats,
rat
too
teeth.
small. That'd be my dream.
Elephants.
Elephant ivory was on there, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say cats and dogs, but I think they're too small,
Too small and too pointy.
too pointy. So you want herbivores?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I think of any herbivores?
Well, I'll put you out of your misery here. We're talking sheep, we're talking goats, we're talking cows, and we're talking horses. Who
All with flat teeth. Yeah, that makes
all
sense.
with flat, massive teeth. They're huge.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't
So-
even consider the size of them. I just thought, oh, yeah, they're flat. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, just absolutely massive teeth. That's our story on dentures and old 18th century dentistry.
Well, I hated every single second of it. Thanks, Tim.
No problem. You're so welcome.
We're going to do Movie Club next week because Tim hasn't watched the masterpiece that is Lucy.
Nope, not watched it.
I told Jenny that I'm making you watch Lucy, and she went, "Does that mean you've got to watch it again?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "Why did you do that to yourself?" So, let's go on and do some jokes.
Yeah, let's do some jokes. That's pretty funny, to be fair. That joke was weak. I misread that as that's the joke of the week.
So this is our joke of the week section where Tim and I tell each other jokes. The idea that is that we try not to laugh, but if we break that and one of us does laugh, that joke is deemed joke of the week and the section is over. Tim, I have 7.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, you're going first then.
All right. Little known fact. Did you know that Jeffrey Dahmer ate Five Guys before it was even a restaurant?
I bet you didn't choose a hot dog, Tim.
Did not choose a hot dog. Also, definitely didn't get enough fries.
Did you hear about the man admitted to the emergency room with 30 plastic horses in his rectum?
No.
Doctors say he's in a stable condition.
I was ready to laugh at that. I was ready.
Slade sent me that one earlier today.
Pretty good. Who told the gorilla that he couldn't go to the ballet?
Harambe.
No, the people who were in charge of making that decision.
Didn't like it.
No,
What do you call the useless piece of skin on a dick?
well, go on.
The man.
Well done. Well done.
Left the
Very
brain on
nearly
there.
got me. What's got 5 toes and isn't your foot?
I don't know.
My foot.
Very good.
Yep.
Why does Santa Claus have such a big sack?
Because he only unloads it once a year.
He comes once a year.
There it is. Why do the Welshmen want to wear kilts?
I don't know.
Because sheep can't hear zippers.
That is xenophobic, Tim.
Is it?
I don't know. How do you stop a naked man that runs through a church?
Go on.
Catch him by the organ.
That's good.
Mm.
That's good. Who are the fastest readers in the world?
You told me off for saying a joke last week.
And now it
And
actually,
you throw. Do you want me to cut that one out?
yeah, that'd be great if you can.
I'll cut that one out. What does the sign on the out of business brothel say?
Go on.
Beat it, we're closed.
Clever. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Hike.
Haiku.
Unsuspecting friend. I await with bated breath. Set the perfect trap. No?
That was so dumb, it nearly got me.
I love a haiku.
What do you call two jalapenos getting it on?
Go on.
Fucking hot.
Yes, that one's good. That's pretty funny, to be fair. That joke was weak. I misread that as that's the joke of the week. I've just
A
sent
really
Payne a text.
strong joke of the week section, Tim. Well done.
You had a really good set of jokes this week.
I had one more left. Do you want the last one?
If you want to use it, or do you want to save it for next week?
I don't think I'll save it. It's not that good. What did the O say to the capital Q?
What's that?
Dude, your dick's hanging out.
Brilliant.
It's not very funny.
Great.
You sent Payne what, sorry?
A message saying, remind me later, penis, skin, and jalapenos. She'll like those jokes.
Good. Tim, you put forgetting how to host a podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had this, because to give the audience a peek behind the curtain, we record Game Club Pod, generally speaking, in batches. Because, well, it's just good for us to get time to have a bunch of variable times to play games. Some people are going to get through games quicker than others, and then those same people could take longer on other games, yada, yada, yada.
Sounds like a skill issue.
It's a big old skill issue. Get good.
Get good.
Don't get hit playing Animal Crossing. So we recorded, you only did 2, but Alex and I did 3 Game Club pods on Sunday?
Yeah,
Sunday. I've completely forgotten how they work.
Yeah. I think the added format of having a fourth person means that sometimes there is longer breaks between recordings, which is really good for us and our well-being and the content and making sure it's fresh and coming to you. But it does make it difficult. I have to say, I refuse to do back-to-back-to-back recordings because I think by the third one everyone's knackered and it's hard. Sounds ridiculous saying it's difficult, but we all do things with our lives, and then each episode is sort of 45, between half an hour and an hour. So you could be sat there for 3 hours, and I worry about the dip in quality for the third episode.
Sure. I mean, on an energy level, I'm perfectly happy to do 3. But
I don't have enough energy for 1. That's why we do this.
But I draw the line at 4. I wouldn't want to do 4 recordings in a day. That's fucking mental.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But
Tim, that's very good letting the audience feel they can know you at your most vulnerable. If you don't love him at his worst, you don't get him at his best. Also, Tim, you want to speak about the PS5 Pro, but I have an idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we get Sean Bean in to talk about it with you?
Oh, okay. Is he here?
Yes, he is. I'll just go and let him in.
Hang on.
Move, you bastards! Move, you lazy bastards! There's a French bastard in these mountains called Loop. Bastard.
Hello,
Hey,
Sean.
you bastard.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm all right, you bastard. I know I have found out my accent's all over the fucking place again. You met me cousin, the Geordie Sean Bean, last week.
Yeah. Yeah, he was Who's a bit erratic. I noticed you've got a trench coat on just like his, though.
Do you love me trench coat?
I do. I do have a couple of questions about your trench coat, if that's all right, and then we can talk about the PS5.
Do you know what, Tim? I've spoken to you. This is the night time, right?
Hmm.
So I started out when I met you, and I thought, "Oh, what a bastard!" But
Yep.
now I still think you're a bastard, but you're a bastard that I know a bit better. So let's talk about me trench coat.
All right. So so I'm assuming you take the trench coat onto film shoots with you. Yes.
Yes.
Does the squirrel in your trench coat give you tips on surviving longer as your characters?
Hey, who said there's a squirrel in me trench coat?
Well, I saw it last week, Sean.
No, you
I can see it moving now. There's a bushy tail sticking out the sleeve.
Tim, I think it's about time you knew.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Me trench coat, it's covering a secret.
Is it a squirrel?
It's not one squirrel.
How many squirrels, Sean?
I'm not a man. I'm 3 squirrels in a trench coat.
Oh, I see. Right, well, that voids my second question.
This isn't going out to anyone that's gonna hear this, is it?
I mean, it's a podcast, Sean. There's a microphone in front of you.
I'm not familiar with podcasting. I thought it was just you, me, and that bastard Joey.
Well, there's a microphone in front of you, Sean. I know you know what that is.
I do, but I thought it was just for. Are you saying that other people are gonna just hear my secret?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you can ask Joey if you want. He's in the corner. He can edit out if you like.
Oh, fuck. Oh, bastard. Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
So many squirrels have just come out of that trench coat and all scurried up a tree.
That's weird.
He's gone. Sean's gone.
Is he going to be back? Like, have we scared him?
I think he's gone.
Home, you lazy bastards!
There's a French bastard in these mountains called Loop. Bastard.
I mean, the writing was on the wall. He doesn't do films outside of forests.
No, he doesn't. I really didn't think he was 3 squirrels in a trench coat.
No, I thought he was just hiding one.
Well, I mean, he's not. I don't think squirrels have much to say about PlayStation 5, so it's probably better that he's gone. And also, do we need to pay him now?
How do you pay a squirrel? Like, what's the tax?
Well, exactly.
I think it's just too much of a logistics nightmare, and we don't have an HR department, so
no. Oh well.
No.
Well, I guess that's the end of Sean Bean, an episode earlier than planned.
All right. Have you seen much about the PS5?
Only what Slade has sent me.
So it looks like shit.
I didn't think much of the PlayStation 5. I know you have one and you quite like it.
I do. I'm obviously not much of a console gamer, but if I want to kick back and play like a more of a cinematic game, then yeah, it's absolutely the way for me because I can play it on my nice 4K TV. But most of the time, I'll be on PC.
I have the same thing. I very rarely use it, but I have the Xbox. I've got a Series X, so I guess it's basically the same. It's the PS5 Xbox version. So yeah, well within your rights to like it, Tim. But I don't think it looks very good at all.
Sure, and that's the end of the console wars. That's how it should have been.
I did see a thing of a man who kept sending back his PlayStation controllers because they were fine when they turned off, but then when he turned it on and he pushed the triggers, they were too firm when pushed down in game.
They're supposed to do that.
It's literally the biggest selling point of the PS5.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He bought 3 different controllers because he thought it was a problem with the first 2.
That's amazing.
I thought it was really funny.
That's brilliant. So at the moment on PS5, you can play games, a lot of games rather, I should say. I will say it mostly seems to be the first party Sony games. You can play in either fidelity mode or sorry, I just got really distracted then. I've still got the tab of George Washington's teeth on my left monitor, and it's just I could just see in the recommended search George Washington alive.
He is alive still.
He is alive. He lives on through his teeth. But going back to Sony, first party Sony games seem to have the option of performance mode or high fidelity mode.
Mhm.
And it's not entirely uncommonplace, especially on the PC scene where, like, hey, do you want the game to look pretty or go smoother? Personally, I'm a smoother kind of guy. I'll take the slight trick.
Smooth, yeah.
I'm like a Ken doll. So Ken doll mint cake. But good save. Thanks, me. It's definitely not being a eunuch joke. So, I tend to go for smoother frame rates personally. I can take the slight hit in quality, but the PS5 in the presentation they were like, we're aiming to trim that gap down so you don't have to pick. And the pictures look, the thing looks the fucking same. I'll admit it looks like it is running at 60 frames per second, but I noticed they were very clear in their wording, being that their games will target 60 frames per second, not always get, target. And they're charging.
Target that anyway.
They do, but now it's in a different console that you can't buy the disc version of anymore.
I saw that there will be a disc version.
So the disc thing, it's actually quite clever the way this works. I'll give Sony credit for this. If you buy the digital version of the PlayStation 5, you've got a panel on the bottom left where the disc would be effectively. You can buy the disc drive separately and just hot swap it in if you want. And I think the PS5 is going to have that same option. PS5 Pro, rather, I should say.
I've seen that it's going to cost 1,100 quid all in.
So I've seen 800 quid. I don't know where you've got 1,100.
Just the console.
Oh, okay. Is this with the disc drive and a controller and a game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. But the thing that makes me laugh is Sony fanboys being like, well, £800 is too much for a console. And I'm sat here looking at a PC going, yeah, all right.
Well, yeah, but the difference is that your PC you can just build upon when you...
Well, that's it.
A PC is a big initial outlay, but once you have it, you have it.
But I saw someone on Reddit being like, Sony have demonstrated the entire point of PC gaming with the creation of this console. On PC, you don't, generally speaking, have to pick between fidelity and frame rate. Like, obviously, you need to cater it to your PC's individual performance. But the fact that they're making that a selling point, being like, you don't have to pick as often.
But you still do sometimes.
That's the thing. There's still a sometimes.
Yeah, it's not great.
I'm really not feeling it.
No,
I didn't tell you what. I did. Oh, I was talking to someone up in Newcastle, one of Payne's friends. They have a PlayStation Portal. I can't because I don't think they're a Geordie.
Mate, I've got a fucking PlayStation Portal.
Yeah, he's got a PS Portal, and he says he really gets on with it. He's got a.
It's really good, and it fucking runs the games like it should do.
But it needs the PS5 to be on as well.
But it needs my PS5 to be on at home.
So he's saying that he's got like a 6-week-old baby, and just if the baby's down for a nap or whatever, he'll just whip out the PlayStation Portal and just play it there. So this is really, it's like perfect for that exact scenario.
It sounds like a expensive Steam Deck that needs something else on.
Yes, not denying that.
As you shouldn't, because that is exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's a Steam Deck, but without the hard drive.
Yeah. Tim, I've put in the running order some couple of short things. Have you seen any of the presidential debate?
The only thing I saw...
There's only one thing I've seen, and it's the important thing.
Is it the picture of Donald Trump at the podium and him leaving? Because he looks like he's melting throughout.
No, it's the point where he makes up that people in a town called Springfield, Ohio, are having their pets eaten by migrants.
What?
Yeah. And he basically says that the people of Springfield, Ohio are having their pets eaten by migrants, and we need to stop this and make America great again. And the person who's chairing the debate says, well, we got in touch with the town spokesman, and they said there has been no reports of that whatsoever.
Brilliant.
Donald Trump just goes, yeah, well, if we don't stop, we're going to become Venezuela on steroids.
What does that mean?
Well, no one knows.
God,
The thing that really gets me is a lot of his argument, and admittedly, this is against Biden, and it is a problem because Biden doesn't seem to know where he is 2/3 of the time.
no, he's very senile.
But Donald Trump isn't that far off that.
No, and if anything, it seems like just Trump is erratic and without wanting to
He's
sound like I'm
dangerous and senile.
Yeah, he's dangerous and senile is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you the clip after that because if you haven't seen it,
that'd
it's
be
not
amazing.
worth talking about. It's crazy.
That
He's now refused any additional debates, apparently, with
Kamala Harris
going forward. Yeah.
Wow. I saw the thing where what was it? There was supposed to be a debate. I think it was on CNN or CSNBC or something like that. Which I'm realizing I think I've just added CS as in crime scene. So it's one of these network channels. There was supposed to be a debate between Harris and Trump, and he pulled out, and then Harris was like, well, I'm still going to the debate if you want to, like, I'm just gonna talk for like 2 hours then. And then Trump said he would do a televised debate, but only if it was hosted on Fox.
Oh, and that's the thing. He's now said he won't do any more, even if they're hosted on Fox.
He knows he's lost then.
I don't know that he does. I think it's not a stupid move because if he can't be put in front of her, he can't make more insane claims like this.
Are you thinking it's that whole thing of the only winning move is to not play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other things that are really interesting as well, like, and we're not going to stay on this for long, one, because the episode's gone on now for a little bit longer than I would have liked, but the other thing is, if you look at his ear where he was shot, ain't no cartilage damage there.
None. That's all.
Ooh.
That's suspicious.
That's suspicious. Let's all put our tinfoil hats away and talk about something more fun. Tim.
Hello.
Here's the last thing on our running order. I hope, because I've already closed it. The last thing on our running order is something I put down about the worst things to teach your toddler.
Now, you did teach your toddler the word slags.
I did something worse than that by accident.
Oh, no.
So whilst driving, Jenny and I were having the conversation. Jack's got to the point now where he imitates the words that you say. So he's picking up what's around him. I need to be really careful about swearing and not do it around him.
Sure.
He's picking up bits of sentences and repeating them to me. And why I thought this was a good idea, I don't know. But I instigate the conversations of what's the worst thing he could repeat at nursery. And I said, my daddy's a little bit racist sometimes. And Jack turned to me and went, "Daddy racist." And I was like, no.
No, that's awful.
He hasn't said it again since.
We hope.
But I did think it was funny. But when I told Slade this, he told me a story. And I thought it was so funny that I got him to record it.
Okay.
So I'm going to play it to you now.
Guest appearance.
Slade's on Two Blokes from Blighty.
I've done it. I've made it to Two Blokes. I've done it. This has been my goal the whole time.
Tell your funny story, Slade.
So you're talking about what's the worst thing for your kid to repeat, and I have one for you. My mom and her friend were going through the drive-thru. I was in the back seat of the car, a very young Slade.
16,
yeah. And my mom got into a bit of an altercation with the very allegedly rude lady working the drive-thru.
Okay.
To which my mom said, "Fucking bitch." Followed by a very young Slade in the car seat, sitting back there going, "Fucking bitch, fucking bitch, fucking bitch," constantly.
How old are we talking?
Probably just learning the talk, so probably 2 or maybe 3 at the oldest.
Okay.
But way too young to be doing that, but just kept repeating it over and over again. My mom was trying things like Fluffy Bunny, anything else to, course correct here. But the real thing you have to know is, which makes the story even funnier. So I learned this from my mom, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so my parents go on a vacation, like on a cruise or whatever, and they leave me with my dad's parents, so my grandparents, who are the go to church every Sunday, very religious type of people.
Okay.
And very young Slade started saying fucking bitch in front of them. So this happens. And then my parents get back. My dad goes into the office because, him and my granddad work together. And granddad goes into my dad's office, shuts the door behind him, and he goes, son, you got to watch the way you're talking about Lisa in front of Slade.
That's amazing.
Wow. I'm guessing Lisa's your mom.
Yes.
And how did she feel about that comment?
She thought it was hilarious that he got in trouble for what she did.
Nice.
It's a very funny story now.
Yes, I'm sure it wasn't at the time.
No.
But all the funniest ones are funny at the time.
No, my dad said, hold up. No. I got to tell you the story.
Well,
That's
that
amazing.
was Slade's first appearance on Two Blokes from Blighty. Who knows when you'll see him again? Probably on Friday for Driveway Beers. Bye, Slade.
More than likely. Bye.
That's a good story. That's a good story.
Yeah, it made me laugh at the time. I thought you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, it's good. Good. All right.
Tim,
we do
pub quiz question.
answer? Yeah, pub quiz question. What's the collective noun for a group of giraffes?
A train of giraffes.
No, it's a tower.
Ah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like
that.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Tim, anyone you want to shout out?
I always forget to do this. Discord user of the week. Let me pick
Discord
one.
users, you're not that important to Tim.
Let's do Bill from Gaming and Collecting Podcast.
Oh, check out Bill from Gaming and Collecting. If I'm right, he posted a picture of his handheld games collection in our Discord, and it was very impressive.
It's really nice. There's some really good condition stuff there.
I'd
seen a
like
Game
to do
Boy
the
Micro.
usual. I'd like to do the usual and shout out the lovely Dan. Forget about it, Josh, Slade, Alex, and I'm also going to shout out Payne, because you're going to hear more of her from tomorrow in our Twitch streams, where I have sorted out all of the audio problems, so you'll actually be able to hear guests. Tim, anything else you want to say?
Take that, you bastards.
Take that, you bastards. We'll see you in a week's time.
Bye.
These became human catapults. Mason separated from the backswing, arcing over
Sorry,
the roof.
Joey. I think it froze. Your camera's frozen, and I don't know how much of the recording was lost then.
Can you hear me now?
I can, but your camera's very choppy.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but your camera's still choppy.
Well, if you can hear me, then what's the fucking problem?
I couldn't hear that last bit. Then I got up to the swing.
All of this is staying in, Tim.
Oh, okay.
No matter what the quality, all of this is staying in.
That's what you come to BFB for.
Shit quality and terrible stories. Am I back now?
You're back. You're good. We are so back.
I'm back, baby.